Okay, hello everybody. My name is Duarte, and I'm with People First Tourism. And this is our fourth Lunch and Learn Together, which are sessions, monthly sessions designed to have members of the collective and our partners in destinations discuss issues that have emerged of being of importance to stimulate tourism micro-entrepreneurship. The topic today is on how creatives, farmers, makers, storytellers, these micro-entrepreneurs, these members of our collective that are tapping into the tourism economy, how can they collaborate with local government agencies so that they can benefit from the services that they want to provide to these creatives and to this group of local people to make tourism better in the destination and to make the destination community more vibrant and more healthy and reach its potential. So we'll follow our usual topic where I'll take the helm of just contextualizing our discussion today. And wanted to begin by pointing out this very important thing. A lot of the work that we do with all of you is supported by the county's Tourism Development Authority. And every county has one of those, almost every county. And the way they function is that they get funded by what used to be called hotel tax, but it's more accurately called occupancy tax. And in North Carolina, it's generally 6%. And this tax is paid not by the residents, but by the tourists that stay overnight. And with the advent of short-term vacation rentals, it stopped being just hotels, but also our homes that we have for rent to visitors. They generate also this kind of occupancy tax. And so generally, the platforms or the companies that have these hospitality overnight stays, they add on 6% to the sale of the overnight service, and then that money is sent to the counties, to each county in a periodic kind of way. And so as a result, the TDA's main focus tends to be to get more heads in beds. And so as a result, the hospitality sector gets a lot of attention of the tourism development authorities, which is a natural thing. And then on top of that, it's important to note that these occupancy tax revenues that are passed on to counties are very, very, very highly regulated. The tourism development authorities have a lot of controls on how they can spend the money. The majority of the money needs to be spent to get more overnight visitation. So the funds are generated from overnight visitors, and they must be used, the majority of them, to promote more overnight visitors. And how can that be done? It's usually marketing, paying for visitor guides and web presence and web ads and things like that. And also for capital projects like stadiums and concert halls and other kinds of major anchor attractions that make that place a more desirable place to visit. And they can also be good for the locals, but primarily they must be very appealing for, the argument must be made that it's going to draw more overnight visitation. Okay. But then TDAs, tourism development authorities, they can also have a little bit of margin to be creative and purposeful about spending these funds. They can try to find things to make, like if they think the destination should have this kind of brand image, they can spend some money to create things that align with that brand image, maybe like beautifying certain aspects of the community or cleaning the beach or things like that. But they are walking a thin line there. There have been cases where they've been contested in the courts and the counties have had to give the money back and use it just for tourism, proved more directly, more clearly serving overnight visitation. And tourism development is economic development. And so to some degree, the money can be used to improve economic development in the region, But that also can be contested and debated, and counties sometimes are brave and confident, and they go ahead and do it. But many times they are a little conservative because they're afraid of getting into trouble of misusing these kinds of funds. Okay. Nevertheless, there's a growing realization among TDAs that just reinvesting money from occupancy tax into more marketing and more visitors and keep biggering and biggering the destination thoughtlessly is counterproductive. It makes the destination fake and very Mac Disneyfied, a term from nerds like me, and Gene. Sorry, Gene, for putting you in that same category. So meaning that it becomes more of the same, it becomes efficient and predictable to offer the same kind of experiences and products and things that people can know. And then it erodes the uniqueness of the destination. So TDAs, and especially the people that work for TDAs, they are generally highly well-trained and discerning professionals. They know that they can't just focus on growth, 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 that they want to interact with micro entrepreneurs. They want to engage micro entrepreneurs in the tourism offer. And why? They know that you will make the destination more competitive. They know that by engaging locals, it needs to be in legal ways, using the funds from occupancy tax to have you more involved in offering services to tourists. Because if they do that, they are stimulating small business development in the communities in the destination. And that is a very good thing for a public organization like a TDA as part of the county. So they want the benefit of the economic muscle of tourism in the destination to be captured, to be earned by locals like all of you. Um, and also, they know that by supporting you, they are injecting into the grassroots art and agriculture and maker kind of networks and vibrancy of the place. And without those, then the destination offer becomes very easy to imitate by other destinations. And so they don't want that. They want to have a sustained competitive advantage. Okay. So I'm going to stop here and pass it on to Gene, who has invited a couple of folks to come and join us today to share their perspectives. Gene, the floor is yours.
New slide.
Go ahead.
New slide.
Slide. Okay. I'm admitting people as well. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we have a few people that are going to give you some insight into how to collaborate with TDAs and community institutions. And the first is Greg, who is one of our collective entrepreneurs. And he's going to talk about how he integrates his coffee stroll into the community and how he's been successful. So, Greg, take it away.
Thanks so much. It's a big leap. The coffee tours that I offer in downtown, I do east side and west side, simply because there's so much to offer that geographically you can't cover all of that ground in a reasonable amount of time. Professionally, most of my income comes as a teaching artist and a drum circle facilitator, leading team building, education, and wellness programs with organizations in the community, your kid's school, your church's congregation, your community group, or your company picnic, whatever that may be. And you might think that coffee and drumming are very different things, but they're really about creative placemaking. It's about creating a sense of belonging and an opportunity for collaboration. And then my involvement with all of these different organizations that you might see on the slide is really about building relationships, because these have become my informers. These become my folks that lend me credibility and expertise. Cooperating with these folks leads to employment for me in those larger areas of my revenue. And it helps keep me connected to the communities where I'm actually offering my tours. So, for instance, being engaged with the Downtown Raleigh Alliance or CVB keeps me up to date on what might be happening or what new shops might be opening. So those become talking points for the tours that I might be giving. Being in relationships with the owners and operators of the different coffee shops that I visit in helps me build connection and community and offer some personal connectivity for the patrons on my tour to these places. So to say, be able to say Blackbird Books and Coffee offers great coffee is one thing, but be able to say, hey, this was a leap of faith between two sisters-in-law who wanted to do something different with their lives. That creates a real personal connection to these places and makes people want to come back. I've heard these ideas described as, in Latin, genius loci, the genius of the place, or Greek topophilia, the love of the place, right? And so we're trying to create a connection between not only the people that are on my tours, but also among themselves, but with the places that we're visiting. And so that makes them want to come back, that makes them want to spend more time in the downtown area. These partnerships really help this coffee tour be more than that because it keeps me informed on all the other things that are going on around. Another great example, if I'm walking by Heirloom Coffee and talking about the Vietnamese and Taiwanese owners of this place and how most of the staff there is vegan, that lends some interesting topics to that place, but it also gives me a chance to talk about the neighborhood and how gentrification has displaced an entire community of art makers near and dear to my heart. Because they made the place cool and the rents went up, and now they have to find someplace else to be in order to afford it. So those are the kinds of things that these government and nonprofit connections really do to serve me. Reaching out to these folks lets me keep informed about my own happenings, but also gives me future opportunities for employment with those places. And the coffee just becomes a talking point because we all know that breaking bread together over a cup of coffee or a great meal builds bonds that last a really long time. Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you, Greg. Uh, Next up is Teresa. And Teresa is from Zebulon, and she's working on the Main Street projects. So, Teresa, take it away,
Well,
and thank you for being here.
well, thank you very much for all that People First Tourism has done for the town of Zebulon. Um, town of Zebulon became a North Carolina Main Street community in July of 23, so we're fairly new from that aspect from a Main Street community. And I agree with Greg, it's about partnerships, whether it's with resources in other communities of our size. Um, Being able to reach out to our micro entrepreneurs that are wanting to come in. And it's without these partnerships, we just wouldn't be where we are today. Zebulon, compared to most towns in Wake County, is on the smaller side. However, if you look at percentages, it's almost doubled since the 2020 census. So you're talking about a fast growing community that's diversifying very, very quickly. So I would say that, the thing that I love about the micro entrepreneurs are the authenticity, the energy, and the adaptability, especially when we're in a community that's growing so fast and changing so quickly. Um, Unlike large box stores, I'm not here to bash them today, but they have more structure. And we're evolving quickly. And so you have that ability to change your hours, to to work with the town. It is not unusual for those downtown businesses, if I have something going on and say, hey, can you be open that night? I'd like to have an event in your business, and but I can bring these people in that can you know, have your coffee or your snacks or whatever. And if they're available, absolutely. Um, they also are just opening their doors. So we're very fortunate to have the business that we have. One that we have particularly on downtown that is done very well, and that is Old Raleigh Distillery, as so many know. They took a long time to start up, but they had a passion. And again, micro entrepreneurs have that passion that a large box store does not have. They typically have lower startup cost. They can help activate those empty storefronts much quicker because of the rents. Now, again, the economy has changed. Building prices have gone up, rent prices have gone up, but they have that ability to adapt rather quickly. Also, we do not have many, but some of our upper floor spaces, again, where a large business that may not meet their needs, but an evolving business, it may work out great for them. It could be a cheaper way, and in our historic buildings may not have the elevators, but it could be a cheaper way for somebody to get attention downtown and get there to be exposed. Again, and they create that local character. Yeah, they're going to represent this diversity that's coming in and that is changing, and they can do that quickly. At the same time, while retaining that history, I'm setting up a meeting next week. Whitley Galleries, the city block of furniture, was here for 4 generations. They have now closed their doors, but they chose to sell the largest building to another furniture company that's been in business out not in Zebulon, but for 3 generations. And a former employer owner of Whitley Galleries or Whitley Furniture is now working at the new furniture store. So when you walk in, I was just discussing this with him. There's old faces. There's that familiarity, that feeling of comfort, of trust that a small business can adapt to that a large one would not be able to do. And so that is talking about making the downtown feel unique. And again, reinforcing that community spirit and pride, and having someone that we all known for years in that store helps. Again, inclusive. We're very fortunate. Again, we have a very large female and minority-owned business and property owner population, about 27% in our downtown. Again, we try to model the resources around them and give them what they need to be successful. We have old and new coming in. And also, as we find that we can, as a town, respond faster to the needs of these women and minority-owned businesses because we are smaller, and it's just like a big box would be larger, not quite as structured. They've kind of turned me loose to go out there and help them where I can. And again, another place is growing those future tenants. We have a business that's in town that is purposely making sure that they're not really foot traffic focused, but spaces in the front of their business so that they can have small areas where people can come in and lease from them for that foot traffic. And they're very cognizant about that. I can talk to a small business about that and what their needs are and how I can help them through facade grants, or we're looking at a building upfit grant. And just like, again, I'll mention Old Raleigh, their bourbon. Then they spoke with McClellan Bagpipes, one of the top 5 manufacturers of bagpipes in the world. So you're in Little Zebulon, walking down the street, you've got people from Scotland, bagpipes playing, and this is just a regular, everyday thing. We didn't have to go hire this band to walk down the street and kills. They're here. They're wonderful. They're very active in the community. And so we now have, and also one of our other local businesses is Norse Brewing. He's from Denmark. We also have another business downtown from the Netherlands. I can't say that we went out there and recruited that diversity, but I do think our ability to reach out to make people feel comfortable has been successful for what we've done. And agree, and again, just the ability, the resilience, the diversity when we've experienced what we did through COVID and the changes that we've had to make has really been huge. And so we're very fortunate for what we have here and understand that in a community our size, that these entrepreneurs are very, very important. And again, with preservation, placemaking, our history, we see how these things are evolving into something bigger than just that retail store. So I know that we cannot do it without these micro entrepreneurs. And again, and as Greg's stated, the partnerships that we have developed, it would be impossible without them.
Well, thank you, Teresa. And there have been some partnerships and collaborations between some of the P1t uh, collective and the downtown uh, retail stores. So we really appreciate what you've been doing in Zebulon.
Well, thank you so much, as always, for being there for us and your support. Thank you.
Uh-huh. So next up is Barbara is not here today. So, but what she does is works with small business services in Apex, and it's economic development through small businesses. And they basically showcase and help small businesses with finding resources and making connections in the community. And that's their focus. So they've got calendars, they've got events that they market and bring to the offerings in Apex. And we have several entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs in Apex that offer experiences. So Barbara has been really helpful in helping us get things going in Apex. So sorry she hasn't been here. Uh, Next up is Andrew from Visit Raleigh's CVB, and I'll let him discuss some of the resources that are available through Visit Raleigh.
Hi, folks.
I'm gonna
So
interrupt real
I'm Andrew Baker, if you don't know me already.
quick. Andrew,
Pardon,
real quick,
quietly the whole time.
on our time here, I've got to give a quick shout out to Teresa. As she was talking, I couldn't help think of how supportive she's been of the entrepreneurs there. Just an example, she nominated Christy Whipple at Old Raleigh Distillery for her annual Isaac Hunter Award, and I was happy to see that nomination come through and happy that she won that award. So just an example of
Thank
Teresa's
you.
greatness. Had to throw that in there.
Thanks.
Sorry,
You,
Andrew.
you've met Derek, who's my colleague with Visit Raleigh. Most of you probably know who we are, but we are the Greater Raleigh Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are, like Duarte likes to use the word TDA a lot. We are the CVB, TDA, or DMO, Destination Marketing Organization, are all this interchangeable acronyms that we like to throw around. But we are the destination marketing organization for all of Wake County. So not just Raleigh. We work with Zebulon. We work with Apex. A lot of times I like to say from Apex to Zebulon for anybody within Wake County. And as Duarte mentioned earlier, we do utilize a portion of the hotel occupancy tax to help drive more visitation to the area. We do that through a lot of different ways. We have an entire sales team that goes out and pitches to conferences in the area. But for today's Lunch and Learn, most important things for local entrepreneurs is that visitraleigh.com is the primary resource for most visitors and some locals in the area for finding things to do in our area. And that is pages like our Visit Raleigh calendar of events, which provides free listings for any events that take place within Wake County. And then also, if your business offers any kind of services for any kind of events that we might have, we can also have a listing page for your website on visitraleigh.com as well. I met with Greg and Annalise earlier or late last year and kind of walked them through how that all operates. And in fact, I have Annalise's different like event services set up as listings on the page, including her ability to offer teeny tiny weddings Raleigh, as she is an ordained minister. There she is. Hi. All of this is a free service that we provide. If you're interested in getting listed or would like to learn how to get things on our calendar, currently P1t events, we make sure they get uploaded directly. But if you would like have other events that you are interested in trying to get promoted for, all you have to do is reach out to me and I can get you set up. Happy to have a coffee meeting on the side and show you how it all works. Derek, if you'd like to add anything on the backside of that.
No, that's covered. Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
Absolutely. I'm here to help. So,
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Andrew and Derek. And we appreciate everything you have can provide. And Andrew has also suggested that anytime somebody invites him to coffee, he'll go. So,
I'm pretty easy. I'll pay. That's the best part.
You
thank you
even came
too.
to our house. We enjoyed having you over, Andrew. That was so much fun. He's an opportunivore, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so next, what we'd like to do is provide some of the resources that have been made available to people first tourism, micro entrepreneurs, and Jamie is going to cover some of the things that are available and how to get involved and make things happen. So Jamie, you're on.
Hi, thank you, Jean. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy, and I'm going to talk a little about the methods that we use to promote your experiences through the local government channels. I find it's useful here to frame our thinking of local government as a marketing partner, and these are partners that have their own platforms and methods for promoting your experiences. There's, of course, a different process for each individual destination authority. So I'm naturally going to explain what I do at People First for Wake County and Rutherford County as well, just to give you guys a peek into the back end of the process. And as Andrew was just saying, kind of, like encourage you to look into trying to do it if you're interested or if it's possible. So for Wake County, I post all of your events on Visit Raleigh's Pixel platform, Pixl. It's a secure web-based portal that's there for the county's tourism and hospitality partners. And through Pixel, I can manage all the content that appears on Visit Raleigh's site, like for each individual experience. So that's just where I submit the events. We can update them that way, and that's how they'll show up on the official Visit Raleigh events calendar and get promoted as a signature experience. And anytime I submit on Pixel, it'll very thankfully and luckily go through an approval process with the lovely Andrew Baker before going live on their public site. And I personally find the approval process with Andrew to be super important. There are some obvious reasons to do with filtering and stuff like that, but it's also great because sometimes Andrew will catch things that I, as the person posting, might have missed along the way. So just Andrew, thank you. And yeah, you are, of course, welcome to try to register yourself on Pixel, like he was saying. That way you can have extra or access to the extranet and the platform itself and have, more control over your event's presentation and the details to do with it. If you embark on that journey, I'm more than happy to help too. So just if you need any assistance figuring out how to register and upload events, just let me know as well. And I guess Oh yeah, the other thing, I should say that in addition to the visibility that you have through Visit Raleigh's site, P1t is also going to continue to boost select Facebook events for Wake County, just like we've been doing, all throughout. And that just means you have it in your back pocket too. And then for Rutherford County, the process is a little different. Here we'll just email the county marketing contact with the dates and links to the Rutherford events. And that's usually or ideally about a month and a half ahead of time. And then we'll just check in with them closer to the month in question to remind or reassure them that the calendar is in fact ready. And then if you go to the next slide, perfect. Tips, yay. Just some tips from my personal experience in this position. Adding the TDA as a co-host on Facebook is key for increasing the visibility of your event. In Wake County, of course, it's Visit Raleigh, and in Rutherford, it's a little more long-winded. It's Lake Lure and the Blue Ridge foothills in Rutherford County, NC. You can also try adding the municipality and the county pages for more visibility. And I've also found that people don't always notice the co-host notifications. So there's definitely good reason to just check with the co-hosts or see if they accepted your invitation in the first place. And if they haven't, circle back with them and just give them a little nudge so they can accept. And yeah, otherwise, I guess in general, I kind of said this before, but to underline, it's best practice to submit and post events if you can about a month and a half in advance, just so people can have a chance to learn about them and get excited about them. And so advertising funds can be appropriated for highlighting your events. And that's really all I have. Thank you guys, and really feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jamie. So I was sitting here observing these such friendly interaction among the people that contributed kindly to these lunch and learn, and it just shows you that tourism in destination, like especially a large destination like Raleigh, can be kind of impersonal and very inhumane and seem kind of so distant from your own work as an artist or as a farmer, as a storyteller. And then we think about what's the government doing to support me. And so I think in this gathering we've had here, you can see all these people were like, we almost might even call each other friends. There's people from municipalities and people from the county and people from economic development, and then a little company like ours, and we're all like emailing each other, trying to create your descriptions well ahead of time, so that then the capacity of the county and the funding from tourism occupancy tax can be appropriately used to support you and to give you visibility, not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of the destination. And I would say we have a pretty unique situation going on here in Wake County, and that's why it's important to feature it now here and then on YouTube, because I think this is the best practices on how to make a destination competitive and make a destination be involving the grassroots of its residents. And so kudos to us. I think we should be proud of that. And I think that this also serves as kind of like an injection of mojo for artists, passionate people that want to tell, what they know about their place. Because if things are done right, then it is possible to elevate all of that cultural capital and allow us to have a voice and to support our livelihoods and to make our communities even better places to live in and visit. So this is going to be the recording on the toolkit page of peoplefirsttourism.com. And we have also some interesting resources just talking about partnerships and how this all works. So I encourage you to visit it. And I want to make a plug for next month, the next first Wednesday of February. We're going to focus on partnerships between you and Main Street businesses, venues. We found that that's a topic that you really have been asking us to support you with, and we hope we have been doing that to a good extent. And so we'll have a few examples and testimonials from members of our collective. So we'll stop recording for now so we can discuss a little bit.